All right. Well, I think we will go ahead and get started since I've got 11 o'clock Central Time right now. So, welcome everyone, and thank you all so much for being here today. We would like to start by thanking the Department of the Air Force School Liaison Program for making today's webinar on what is a Purple Star School possible. Thank you so much for taking our poll. I can see that we have professionals joining us today and parents and all kinds of roles, and that is wonderful. Thank you all for being here. We always welcome professionals who work with military connected children to our parent trainings, and I know you'll find the information and tips we present useful. Please note that our MSEC parent support webinars have been designed with parents as the target audience. Before we introduce ourselves, we wanted to share with you a bit more about MSEC and its mission. So the Military Child Education Coalition, or MSEC, is a nonprofit organization established more than 26 years ago. Our mission is to support all military-connected children by educating, advocating, and collaborating to resolve education challenges associated with the military lifestyle. In 2005, MSEC formalized support and programming for military connected parents so they may be empowered, informed, and proactive in supporting their children's educational journey. We strive to deliver informative and interactive webinars that address academic, social, and emotional issues associated with the military family lifestyle. Our vision is every military connected child is college, work, and life ready. My name is Emily Barton, and I have been with MSEC for the last 6 years as a parent educator, part of the webinar team, and I am also the community coordinator for San Antonio. My husband is active duty Air Force, and we have 2 military connected children. Our daughter is 21 years old, and she will be a senior in college, and our son is 19 and will be a sophomore in college. I will now go ahead and pass it over to Sonia.
Good morning, everyone. At least it still is here in the Central Time Zone. My name is Sonia Mulak, and I have a couple different roles. Like Emily with MSEC, I'm a community coordinator in the Huntsville, Alabama region, which is the area that we currently live in. And then I work on the webinar team and the educator team. So we're so glad you guys are all joining us here today. Emily and I have been living this military lifestyle for quite a long time. My husband was an active duty Army soldier and just retired officially December 1st after 31 years. And we do have 2 military connected kiddos. I, like Emily, have a kiddo going into his sophomore year at college, as well as my youngest will be a senior in high school this year. And we are very, very happy that we were able to retire and stay in one place for at least my second child's high school career. So he's been able to stay in that same high school year round and through all the high school years, which are nice. And it is a Purple Star school, so that is nice for the areas that I live in, the topic we're going to be talking about today. We do want to let you know about a couple of administrative announcements before we continue. At the end of the webinar, we're going to invite you to take a survey about our presentation today. We'd really appreciate it if you took that 2 to 3 minutes that it's going to require to give us some feedback, because it's a key method that we use to tell our funders what we're doing, how we're doing things, and just let us know where we need to tweak things so we can continue offering those very best training opportunities possible for you guys. So please take a moment to complete that survey at the end and tell us how we did. Right now, you should see that chat box on your screen. If you don't, you should be able to open it using that toolbar on the bottom. This is an area where you can ask questions and interact with us during the webinar, and we're going to be asking you guys for some feedback. So we really love it when we get to engage with our audience and learn a little bit about you guys. So please feel free to utilize that feature. In that chat box, you also should see the resource, which Emily and I have dropped in there. This contains all the information and links and connections for all the things that we're going to share today. So if you download that one resource, it'll link you to everything that we might reference during our webinar. We do want to let you know that if you are joining us on your cell phone, you won't be able to download that resource. But if you use the private message feature there in your chat box to send Emily and I your email address, we'll be sure and get it over to you at least by the end of the webinar today, if not before, so you'll have access to it as well. We also want to note that this webinar is being recorded, so you will be able to view the recording later if you want to review the materials or if you happen to experience any of those technical difficulties during the presentation. Now, before we get started, let's take a look at those 3 main points that we're going to cover today. By the end of this webinar, we hope that all of us in attendance will be able to describe the social, emotional, and educational impacts of the military lifestyle and frequent relocations, understand how Purple Star schools mitigate the unique challenges of military-connected children, and identify those resources and strategies for parents to help grow this initiative in support of their military-connected children. We do have a poll question that we would love for you guys to answer. We would just like to know, what grades are your children in? So we know kind of what level we're talking to today, whether we're talking to mostly elementary parents or if we're looking at those high school, middle school. Looks like right now we have quite a few high schoolers, which is right there in my world. So we appreciate that. If you have a chance to answer that poll, that would be fantastic. Because there are parts of that Purple Star school for all the levels of education. So it's not just in those elementary schools or just in the higher grades. We have programs in elementary, middle, and high school. So it's just nice to know where you guys are at in your journey right now as parents. Okay, and you can go ahead and feel free to exit out of that. If it's still showing up on there, you are able to just hit that X button up top. Sometimes it will still show up after we stop it. So just go ahead and exit out of that if you need to. So as we're getting started today, we do want to do a quick activity with you. If you've got a scrap piece of paper around and a pen, we would appreciate it if you join us and walk through this activity with us. So first, we want you to think about those daily or weekly routines. For example, the way you might drive home every night. Usually everybody has their own little path that they take. A special place that you like to eat lunch, and go ahead and write that down on that piece of paper. So I'm kind of thinking through that myself, and I'm going to put a place that I really like to go eat with my friends sometimes. And, you know, my kids, it's one of their favorite places as well. And then next, I want you to think about people other than family, where you live right now that you've established some type of relationship with. This is somebody you might rely on for regular things. Like maybe it's that person who cuts your hair just right. You know, as a military spouse moving around, it's always hard, and it sounds silly, but it's always hard to find that person that knows how to work with your hair and cut it just right. Or if you have younger children, maybe it's your favorite babysitter, because every time you move, you have to find that new person that you trust with your kiddos. So go ahead and write that person's name down and give you just a second to do that. Okay, and then after you've got those 2 items on there, I want you to think about a group that you're connected to, either formally or informally. Maybe you belong to a book club, maybe it's your Sunday school class at church, or people you just eat lunch with every day at work. Or, you know, it could be like a club where you go out and do activities like hiking or any of that type of stuff. Go ahead and write that down on your piece of paper. Give you just a second to think about that third thing. Okay, so now you should have 3 different things on your piece of paper, right? 3 things that are important to you. Just the way you drive home, a place that you like to go, those people in the community that make your life a little easier, like those babysitters, maybe the librarian that can always find that book you're looking for, and then just those people you rely on, people that are in your life every day, your coworkers at work that you're sitting down to lunch with. Take that piece of paper you've got and fold it. Make it all nice and neat and fold it up. Make it all pretty, right? Now here's the really hard part. I want you to rip that piece of paper up. Just rip it. And then just throw it away, right? So how are you feeling about that activity that we just did? We took all that time to think through these people and places that were important to us, and then we just ripped them up and threw them away. you might feel a little bit uncomfortable about that. You might be wondering, why in the world did I make you go through this activity and think about this and, grab that piece of paper and pencil and write it all down just to rip it up. You might be frustrated. You might be angry. You might be irritated. Or maybe you're just confused because you don't know why I had you do that. Go ahead and put some thoughts in the chat box about how you feel about that. Um, the reason we had you do this, the reason we watched this activity is that's just a small taste of those various emotions that your child feels every single time they have to move, or any military kid or any child that's moving. They have all these people and places that are a part of their daily lives, their weekly habits, their monthly habits. It's just what you do. And then to them, it feels like it's all just being thrown away every time they have to pick up, pack everything up, and start over. So it's just kind of to give you a taste and to get you thinking about what it may feel like to the children that are experiencing this lifestyle. So Emily, I'm going to turn it back over to her, and she's going to share more of those feelings and thoughts that these military children may be experiencing when it comes to their military lifestyle. Emily?
Absolutely. So back in 2020, MSEC conducted a survey called the Military Kids Now 2020 Ed Survey. With this survey, we had the opportunity to look at how the military connected child views academics, the military lifestyle, and transitions. We are going to share the results of this survey in your chat box, and we do invite you to open it up and take a look at the responses, particularly on pages 7, 8, and 9. Here you'll see the student perspective, and you'll also be able to see some of their responses on your screen right now. I'm going to give you a moment to take a look at some of these. And some of their responses may sound pretty familiar to you. The average military-connected child will attend 6 to 9 schools during their kindergarten through 12th grade education experience. Our children are particularly vulnerable during major life changes, such as a permanent change of station or PCS, or moving to a new school. It's very important for us to identify and understand all of the issues and needs of a child during a PCS or a move, whether these needs are social, emotional, or educational. Children's responses and behaviors due to major life changes may depend on a variety of factors, including their age, maturity level, their gender, their personality traits, as well as the parent-child relationship. The way our children respond to these changes can also be affected by military-specific programs that are in place at their school. We'd love for you to keep this survey open while I share some specific educational and social emotional challenges that our military connected children may experience. So first, we're going to talk about these educational challenges. Every child is unique, and every move brings a particular set of opportunities, challenges, and those daunting unknowns. We'll look now at these educational challenges, and I have a question for all of you. What academic transition challenges have you encountered? And we'd love for you to share these in the chat box if you can think of any specific education challenges that you have seen, either with your own children or children that you work with. I'll give you a moment to think through some of these. My daughter actually had to take life sciences twice in middle school, so that was a little bit of a challenge. She had a little bit of a learning overlap in middle school. And so that wasn't a great situation, but I guess she got extra extra life science information. She also actually had to double up on math classes in high school, so that was a challenge. So some common academic challenges. Yes, and Alicia, thank you for that. The title of classes don't always match. No, they don't. And that can be something that you need to be aware of as your child switches schools. That's absolutely right.
That can be a particular problem with math. We've seen that. I've seen that personally with my child, and in my role, I've heard about it with children moving from one state to another where it's the same math class, but because it's titled differently, they can't get credit for it. So that does happen often.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes navigating different paperwork requirements when moving into and out of a school, that can be challenging. There may be challenges due to differences in service or special programs like the Gifted and Talented program, having an IEP, differences in interpretation, with the 504 plan, it may be that qualifications vary from school to school. And yes, I can see in the chat box, Alicia, that you said that you tell all families to make sure they have course descriptions with them when they PCS, as well as the grades. Absolutely. Having those course descriptions can make a huge difference with placement for that child. Great suggestion. Children may encounter different curricula, different grading systems between schools, different types of tests. Different states often distribute and use different types of tests, different schedules. Some, especially in high school, some children may have a block schedule, others may have just a seven, seven class schedule every week, that same schedule. Schools have different requirements. So this really can make the transfer of grades and coursework more difficult. Additionally, some states require entrance testing or some type of exit testing or end of course test. So it's important to be aware of that, different graduation requirements. Yes, and Kimberly says, as the registrar, that helps them interpret the transcripts. Having those course descriptions, absolutely, it can make a huge difference. Thank you. Yes, and so children also may experience learning gaps in which the student may miss foundational skills because of curriculum differences, or the student may experience a learning overlap in which they're learning the same concept again, like my daughter did in middle school, because they were already taught that at the school that you moved from. Additionally, some families move in the middle of the school year, and that can pose additional challenges. Both of my children were fairly young when we had a mid-year move, and that can be quite challenging as well. But I think the younger they are, maybe the easier it is. It's harder with our high school students who encounter a mid-year move. And I think we have someone who had their hand up. If you will put your question or comment in the chat box, that would help. Thank you for that. Good. And yes, absolutely. Someone mentioned the MIC3. Yes, it does. The MIC3 is a huge help for our military connected students. Yes, and so you say they will be awarded credit based on content. If it was called Math 1, if that equals Algebra 1 or geometry, it helps to have that information of what Math 1 actually means. All right. So often our military connected children experience social and emotional challenges due to the military lifestyle, in addition to those academic challenges. So I'd like for you to think now about the social and emotional challenges that your children have encountered. And if you would like to add those to the chat box, we would love to know your thoughts on that. Our children may have to face loneliness, missing their old friends at their previous school, and the challenge of making and meeting new friends. Our children have to leave a support system behind. They may no longer have those strong connections that they did in the previous location. They have to adjust to a new environment, a new town, a new school, perhaps a new culture, and fitting into that. And yes, thank you, Alicia. The loss of friends and their favorite teachers, absolutely. Being that new kid over and over again can be very challenging. And often they may experience apprehension, a fear of the unknown. Perhaps they move into a school where the staff or teachers aren't aware of the unique military challenges that our children experience, such as having a deployed parent or having a parent who is ill or injured or wounded. Another challenge that our children may face is missing tryouts for a team or an activity that they love, or perhaps the school doesn't even offer the activity. Maybe they're moving from an area where there's a lacrosse team and the new location doesn't offer lacrosse. So that can be a challenge for our children. So thank you all for sharing those thoughts. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how to mitigate those challenges, and I'm going to pass it over to Sonia.
Right. So Emily shared the survey with you that showed those thoughts that a lot of military children have and the concerns that they, as well as parents and educators, have. It really is a great survey. So please take a chance to take a minute to look at that if you have a chance. And then your own experiences. The information you've shared in the chat shows that we do have a lot of challenges as we're moving from place to place and relocating between schools. Several of those that were mentioned were the curriculum, missing out on teams and activities, and just being that new kid again and again. So a lot of people have wondered, how can we help? What can we do to mitigate some of these challenges? So in response to that question, in 2017, Ohio began a grassroots initiative called Purple Star Schools. From that very simple beginning, as of now, January 2025, the program that Ohio started in 2017 now has spread and grown to 43 states, and then 5 additional states have proposed or pending legislation. So the Purple Star Schools program was designed just to help alleviate that pressure on military families and students as they're moving from place to place and adapting to those new school environments and all the requirements and all the rules and all the changes. The program's job is really just to support students and their families and then help those students excel despite those challenges that they are facing. They do this in a variety of ways. They work to establish military-friendly standards and atmospheres at the school and district level that help to mitigate those unique challenges that those students and families face as they're transitioning in and out of different schools. The program supports those military-connected children during those times of school transition, including those mid-year relocations that we mentioned. And they assist with challenges like missing out on that normal cycle of extracurricular activities, like those sports and clubs, or those social and emotional challenges we mentioned due to, leaving friends and all the support networks that they had set up. And then in addition to helping those families that are in the middle of those transitions, moving from place to place, they also can and have been designed to step up and help the child whose parent is absent due just to a deployment or other prolonged absence, like a TDY, which is a temporary duty assignment where the military member is working in a separate location from where the family is living. Or some cases, the family geo-batches, which means the family stays behind in a current location or stays in a location where they have some other support, like near family, while the service member goes on to a different assignment. And there can be a variety of reasons for that. We have other webinars and information that talks about geo-batching, but the program is designed to also support those families who are living with a parent, a service member who is experiencing a prolonged absence away from that family for a number of reasons. So there's a lot of different ways that they work to do this. I am going to drop some links in your chat box where, in addition to today's webinar, you can use these links to learn more about Purple Star Schools and how they help military families. So please just scan that QR code on your screen or use that link in your chat box, and you'll find lots of information on these Purple Star School programs on our webpage, because we, MSEC, are the national advocate for the Purple Star School program. So a lot of the work that we do is in support of our Purple Star schools and the programs that they put in place in their different school systems. So let's get into it and talk a little bit more about the actual program. Purple Star School programs, we're the national advocate for it, but we don't govern it, meaning we're not setting up and establishing the regulations and the rules. Each Purple Star School program is established by the state's education authority, or sometimes by a local education agency if the state doesn't do it. It's important to note that each of these states can have their own rules for Purple Star School designation. And although most of them follow some of the big requirements, you'll see that they pretty much stay the same from state to state. But the state is setting those rules. MSEC does not award the designation. We simply assist and support those schools that are working towards reaching a Purple Star School designation. With that, in the working to assist those schools and figure out how Purple Star schools can best serve our military families, we partnered with the Center for Public Research and Leadership, or CPERL, in the fall of 2020 to better understand the impact and the potential that the program presents for military-connected students and families. And then in the spring of 2022, we did a follow-up study that based off that original study. We followed up to it in 22, and we completed that program to show that how the program has been implemented and how it's evolved over time. So we've shared that link with you in your chat box as well, and we encourage you to look at that survey and the findings to see what it came up with and how Purple Star schools are actually mitigating those challenges and how they can better work to serve those military families. So we want to talk about it a little bit and let you know some of the findings in it. Based on research and studies, they developed 5 recommendations plus some additional exemplary practices for schools or districts that are seeking that Purple Star School designation. So these include things like designating a staff point of contact for military connected students and families. That staff point of contact serves as that primary link between the family and the school. So when a family is PCSing, they have one person that they can go to get all their questions answered. So that is a wonderful requirement that most Purple Star schools, when the states set it up, most of them will put that as a requirement in their program to have one name, one face that you can go to and get all your answers. Another big part of it is providing professional development for staff related to those needs of military families. You may be transitioning to an area where the people in that district aren't familiar with military. Maybe, it's a point where you're transitioning out of the military and retiring, and you're moving back to a location where there's not a military base. They may not understand what that military life was like that you and your family have been working through for the past 20 years or the past 30 years, or you just may have someone who's a teacher there that maybe just moved there themselves and they've never really worked with military families, so they don't know what this lifestyle is like. So this professional development can help the staff understand these things and just know what these terminology is that we throw around every day, like a PCS, permanent change of station, or a TDY, temporary duty assignment. So we kind of have our own language, so it can help with understanding things like that and what the lifestyle is like. And then third, it recommended that you establish and maintain a school-based student-led transition team. And this is basically just like a group of kiddos there that are their peers that take the new students in, welcome them, help them become familiar with their new environment, and show them around the school, introduce them to the people they need to meet, and then again, also help the student exit when they're ready to move on. So it's not just welcoming them, but it's making sure that it's a clear exit for them as well, and there are no complications. The fourth recommendation was having a dedicated school or district webpage to inform incoming and outgoing families of school or district policies and the community resources that are available in that new area for military families. That's really important because as a military spouse, the first place I look when my husband gets orders would be the web, to go on and start researching our new area, to learn about where we're moving, to learn about what the school's like, what their requirements are. So this recommendation to have that one page for military on your actual website that gives them all the information they need to know to register their kiddo, what the calendar is, what's the start date. You know, if somebody's moving to Alabama, they may be shocked that our kids are starting school August 4th. Like, that's not typical in other parts of the country. So you need to know that if you're PCSing here. So that web page is really sometimes that first impression that you can make on your new families. And then fifth, this is usually one of those extra and above things that they recommend, is establishing those events that recognize and celebrate military students in the school community. So having those recognition events in the school. We're going to get into each of these a little bit more, but it's important for you to know and understand what Purple Star Schools can do for you as a military family, or if you're working with those military families, to understand what the program can do for those incoming families, because they're the beneficiaries of this program. Purple Star Schools were set up to help those military families and students. So it's important to learn what they're all about and what they're set up to do and accomplish. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Emily, and she's going to go into more detail on each of these 5 recommended requirements. Emily?
Thank you. So the first component of the Purple Star School program is a staff point of contact. And before I go into a little bit more detail about the point of contact, I have a question for you all, and you can respond yes in the chat box or no, or you can give me a thumbs up. When enrolling your child at a new school, have you ever had to fill out a form that asks if you are military connected? So we'd love to know. Yes, me too. Yes and yes. Okay, good. Okay. So asking parents to disclose their military connection upon enrollment was established in the Every Student Succeeds Act in 2015, or ESSA. This is when the Military Student Identifier, or MSI, was established as federal policy. The MSI, or Military Student Identifier, helps to ensure that new military connected students and families are immediately introduced to the Purple Star School point of contact. This point of contact is a school or district-based staff employee who advocates and supports military connected students. Having this Purple Star point of contact can help military families feel connected to the school and helps to provide that sense of belonging for the student and the family. Here is what a Purple Star School point of contact can do for you. They help identify military students as you are enrolling your student at the new school. So they're identifying military connected students. They advocate for the needs of the military connected students within the school and the local community. They also share community, national, and web-based resources and opportunities with students, the parents, and even with their colleagues. After moving to a new location, we often don't know of the local opportunities. So the point of contact can share that information with you. And for our high schoolers or even our college kids, they may know of internships or scholarships or homework resources that could be helpful for this age group. The point of contact can connect you with key personnel or peers in the school or community that your student may have things in common with. So that can make a big difference for our military kiddos. They can also support students and their families by planning and organizing the continuum of care and support of military connected children in the school. They often provide welcome folders as well as exit folders, so that the welcome folders are given as your student arrives at the school. They may be virtual, but they're full of information that help you and your student get connected and feel comfortable and have lots of information about the new school. And those exit folders are if you are moving away from the school. So if you receive those PCS orders to move, Often the point of contact will have an exit folder just for information that help you transition to your next school easier. So these both contain that pertinent information for our military connected children. Our point of contacts also recognize our military connected students within the school community. They may plan special events during Veterans Day or Memorial Day or during Month of the Military Child, which is in April, as well as Month of the Military Family, which is in November. So essentially, the Purple Star School point of contact is your first stop for any questions or concerns, issues that you may have. This designated point of contact is specifically there to support you and your children at the school. Now I'm going to talk a bit more in detail about relevant professional development that is very important for all staff. It is critical that school personnel understand the military lifestyle because there are those unique situations that our children may experience, including those deployments and the geo-batching that Sonia talked about when a family decides that the service member is moving on to the next duty assignment while the family remains at the current location. Our children also may experience moving every 2 to 3 years. And it's important for staff to understand that you may have some children who are serving in a caregiver role. Another primary function of professional development is to educate and prepare school level staff on how to best meet the needs of military connected students. It helps staff understand that these students need more flexibility sometimes. You may encounter situations where parents might need to take their children out of school. It may be that a service member has a mid-tour during a deployment where they come home for a short period of time, and perhaps the parents want the children to be able to stay at home and see their parent. There may be ceremonies, change of command ceremonies, retirement ceremonies, promotion ceremonies that our children need to participate in. So they may have to miss a little bit of school for that. Or you may have caregiving youth who have to support the care needs of a wounded, ill, or injured parent who is at home. Our children may need special supports like tutoring because of those curriculum differences that we talked about earlier. Or our children may have learning gaps because a concept was not taught at the school that they moved from. So it's important to be aware of those things. Children may also need to take an end of course test a little bit earlier because they are moving prior to the test date. So it's important for the family to be able to work with school staff to make that happen. This is, of course, easier when staff know about the military lifestyle. So when a school becomes a Purple Star school, all states do require that staff complete additional professional development training on understanding the military lifestyle challenges when they do have military connected students and families. So next, we are going to talk about having a web page that is supporting military families. So those school or district websites are often that first opportunity that military families have to get a better idea of the resources available at a school or in a district prior to a move. So one component of the Purple Star School designation requires that dedicated web page specifically for the military connected student and family. You may find that there are variations depending on your state's Department of Education guidance or whether a school or a district military web page is mandated. So these web pages, you may see that some are at the school level and some are at the district level. There are wonderful advantages to having a military family webpage because it centralizes information, particularly enrollment information or resources for military connected families. In this way, you don't have to search websites for different information. The web pages have it all in one centralized location. They have in mind things that military families are looking for, including the boundary map of the district or the school, a list of schools within the district with links to those home pages. The military webpage may have registration information and specific documents that are needed upon registration. They often list the school calendar, have academic planning information. They may list the extracurricular opportunities, different clubs and activities. They may even list the state athletic eligibility, which is very important for our high schoolers, and may provide counseling and support service information. You will often on these military web pages find the point of contact information. So this is important to have that Purple Star School point of contact email address. It may also be very important to have the registrar information or the counselor's information as well. These web pages inform the military connected parents of their rights and often have information about the MIC-3 because we want everyone to be informed about the Military Interstate Compact or MIC-3. Web pages often provide state and district policies regarding enrollment all the way up through graduation requirements. Consider thinking about the different requirements for school physicals. Those can vary from district to district, so you may want to include information about those. And our web pages encourage a positive military culture in schools, at the district level, and in the community. So they're very important. And you can see there that Sonia has dropped information in the chat box about the MIC-3. So please feel free to take a look at that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sonia to talk a little bit more about other components.
Okay, so one of those things that was recommended from that CPRO report and that most states require as their Purple Star School program is a school transition team to support those military students. Now, this is a peer-led student team. So we do want to know how many of you can raise your hand, you can nod your head, you can comment in the chat box. How many of you have heard of student to student or an S2S program? Okay, so we have a few of you guys that have heard of it. Great. Okay, and I see some of you guys raised your hands, so I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys interacting with us and letting us know. So I love seeing that some of you guys have heard about that. So just to explain a little bit more, I'm gonna drop a link in the chat box where you can learn some more about it, but student to student or S2S is just MSEC's form of that peer-led student transition team. And we had mentioned that we're the national advocate. We support those Purple Star schools that are working towards gaining their certification or their designation and then continue to support them. So this S2S program is just one of those ways that we work to support our Purple Star schools, because in most states, a school transition team is a required program component for Purple Star schools. So we fulfill that role as a peer-led student transition team. Some schools use S2S, some schools use peer helpers or some other programs that are out there as well. But usually you will see that as a requirement, and student to student is just one that we can support. We provide training for, we help with those, setting up those teams and understanding how to run them. So that's one way that we're supporting those schools. Now, even if a state doesn't require a specific student-led program, there is usually some type of welcome program that exists where the new student is being linked up with a current student. Sometimes a teacher or a counselor will pair a new student with a peer for the first day or the first week of school, or they may assign a lunch buddy to a new student, or it may be a student or a buddy, a sponsor that gives them a tour of the new school. So these are the kinds of things that peer-led student transition team is doing, or that is generally being put in place, even if that's not a requirement. So there's a lot of benefits to having a program like this in your school. They can help that kid that's feeling like the new kid all over again not feel so new and lost, because those military students are coming into a completely new school environment, and they have somebody there that is welcoming them, that's showing them around, so they feel like they know how to find that next class. They're not the kids sitting alone at lunch. So this type of program can really help when it comes to that feeling of just awkwardness of being the new kid again. They take that feeling of alone away, and they help that student acclimate and integrate into their new school system. They also provide an opportunity to connect with peers, because one of the things that they try to do is get to know that new student. And once they learn what their interests are, then they can help foster those connections and those relationships within the school and within the community, because part of what that team should be doing is talking to the student, learning about them, and then taking them and introducing them to the people that they need to meet where their interest lies. So if they say they're interested in a specific club or an activity or events, then they can learn about that from that peer, and then that person who's on that team can introduce them to that coach or school staff or the program lead for that activity that they're interested in. So they're basically paving the way to build those connections. Another big plus of these types of programs is that they're just encouraging a positive, supportive, and military-friendly school culture. Somebody on that team may be a child who's not a military student, but yet they're learning about the military and what it means to be a military kiddo as they're interacting with these new students that are coming in. So it's building that positive mindset when it comes to the military families that are transitioning in and out. So let's talk about another way that we can help build that in our schools, and that's often through those recognition events. Purple Star schools are committed to supporting military families, and a way that a lot of the schools will do this is showing their support by planning special recognition events or celebrations at the school, and possibly bringing in the community to support those military connected students and families during these special times of year. They often take advantage of national holidays or observances to hold events and to honor those service members, veterans, military connected children, and their families. These often happen, we see in our schools around Memorial Day, Veterans Day in November, which is also Military Family Day, and then April, which is Month of the Military Child. So you may hear of Purple Star schools recognizing their military students during these times of year by maybe displaying a wall of honor. So, having pictures of the service member that's a part of that child's family at their school on a wall of honor. They may do shout outs during morning announcements, or, have a guest speaker in during an assembly or in certain classrooms. You may have military family recognition breakfast or a Veterans Day breakfast that's held at the school. Some schools in my local area do parades through the parking lots with all the military veterans. So there's just a lot of different ways, a variety of ways to celebrate these special military specific holidays. One of those that we would like to know if you've heard of is Purple Up Day. So give me a thumbs up or let me know in the chat if you've ever heard of or participated in a Purple Up Day in your area. Okay. So Purple Up Day is generally a day that's set aside in April during Month of the Military Child. I'm seeing some yeses here, so some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, creating flyers, passing out purple ribbons that people wear. One of our people have said have been doing for years in school in Maryland. CYP, celebrate all month. Yes, the whole month is awesome to celebrate, wearing their Purple Up S2S shirts. I love it. Lots of ways to celebrate Month of the Military Child, and Purple Up Day is one of those that's usually used to celebrate those children during the month of April. We use purple because it's the color that combines, or the color that combines all the colors of the different service branches. So when you bring them all together, it creates purple. So that way we're representing all of our military children. So usually a school or a community will pick a specific day to celebrate Purple Up Day. And on that day, they encourage everyone to wear something purple in recognition of those military children. And like some of you have said, and like we said, this may be in conjunction with other events that are celebrating Month of the Military Child. So these kinds of events that are going on in the school and in the community are just another way to bring awareness to the school staff, to other peers in the school, other students, and to community members about the military families in their community and what their lifestyle is like. Some of these people may never have heard about deployments or other times when a parent is absent. So having some of those guest speakers in can help highlight that and make others aware of it. Sometimes people aren't aware of it. There are children, youth, and young adults that are currently and actively involved in the care of a wounded, ill, or injured military member or veteran. These are our youth caregivers that we mentioned before. And events like these where we're celebrating our military can help highlight those people in the school that are a part of that specific group, that are caring for their military member or working through the challenges of a deployment, or celebrating a parent who's just came home from an extended TDY. So lots of these things can be brought to light during these celebrations and can help the community better understand what that military lifestyle is like. Another great thing about these events is that they can help connect one military family with another military family that may be in the same school. So if you're having a Veterans Day event, maybe a parent and child are attending that didn't realize that the other child was their child's friend was a military child as well. So these types of events can provide those opportunities for the families to meet and interact with each other and get to know others who are military families just like them and going through some of the same things. So it can offer that support. They can also strengthen those school and community ties, because a lot of times it brings in those community partners, and you see the community then how much they're supporting their military families and what they're doing for those families in the schools and how they're coming in to offer their support and to celebrate. So it lets the military families learn about those organizations in your school and how they're engaging and connecting with those military families in the school and also in the community. And then that Purple Star School program can also just create that welcoming environment again, because it's showing those military families that the school acknowledges and appreciates their military families and students. Sometimes it might help those military connected students experience a sense of belonging and pride. That child has been going through a lot of challenges as being a part of a military family. So when the school is celebrating them and trying to understand that lifestyle and what they live through, it can help them see that there is a good side to all this, and it can help them have some pride as they're being celebrated by their other peers. So we want to go ahead, now that we've covered most of those key recommendations, we want to watch a quick video that shows how Purple Star schools do make a difference for our military connected students. So Emily's going to play that.
I'm Maggie
for us.
Bryan outside Jenkins Middle School in Colorado Springs. Finding a new school can be difficult for military families who move to our area. Now the state of Colorado is recognizing the schools that make that transition a little easier with this purple star symbol. Naraya Patera is used to being the new kid.
I have moved around about 5 times. I was born in Hawaii, and then I moved to Italy, and then North Dakota, and now here.
Her father is a master sergeant in the military. They moved to Colorado Springs when she was in the middle of 6th grade.
This one was the hardest for me because moving in the middle of the year, I hated it.
But she knows she's not alone here at Jenkins Middle School. Around 80 other students here also have parents in the military. The Department of Defense says the average military child will attend 6 to 9 different schools from K through 12th grade. The principal at this school says he's seen the struggles some of these kids face adapting to new environments.
There was a parent who stated, my child doesn't even try to make friends anymore because we move around so much.
And that's part of the reason why Jenkins Middle School is designated as a Purple Star School.
So we provide some extra supports for those students due to the transient nature of where they live.
The designation lets parents know they have a military liaison to connect them with things like counseling and help with academic planning. Jenkins Middle School has been part of the program since 2021, but a new law signed this weekend by Governor Polis could help expand the program. The law makes the Purple Star program official under the state's Department of Education. Colorado joins a list of 38 other states that have similar legislation.
I think it's fantastic that it's being recognized at a higher level. Our hope is that this could spread to other schools within B11 and also outside the district.
Here at Jenkins Middle School, the Purple Star program also takes shape in after-school activities with military students.
You get to see people like you, I like to say.
It's where Patera realized she's not going through these changes alone.
It's like moving through every 3-4 years.
In Colorado Springs, I'm Maggie Bryan, News 5. I'm Maggie.
Good. Okay, so now having heard about the benefits of the Purple Star Schools program, I'd like for you to think about what benefits are most important to you. So as you think through those, I am going to go through some of the ways that Purple Star Schools have a real important place for our military families. The true value of Purple Star Schools derives from their potential to help ease transition challenges as military students move in and out of different schools and face those different curricula, state assessments, rules, schedules, and policies. They offer support and resources specifically for military families and their students. Purple Star School staff receive the professional development and know about the challenges that military students face. Therefore, they can better meet the needs of the student population. At the same time, families and students benefit because they learn about local resources and opportunities. Purple Star Schools also help students build connections and adjust to a new school. After moving to a new school, children reported that making friends and fitting in is one of their top concerns. Purple Star Schools help with this adjustment phase. They improve the school and education experience for our children. It goes without saying, if students feel welcomed and appreciated at a new school, if they can adjust and fit in, they are more likely to be able to concentrate on their academics. And of course, they are more likely to enjoy going to school. They help military-connected students stay on track to be college, work, and life ready. When looking for a new school, consider if it does have that Purple Star School designation. In order to find Purple Star Schools, you'll want to check individual school websites. They will indicate if they are a Purple Star School. You can also connect with your local school liaison and ask for help. School liaisons are found on the military installations. You can also reach out to one of our military student consultants, our MSCs, and you may be wondering who they are. Military student consultants provide individualized support for families, students, and professionals. They are a free service, and we'd love for you to get in touch with Mark Patton and Terry Whidden. To reach them, you can email them at msc@militarychild.org or by the phone number that's there in your chat box or on your screen. You can also use that QR code, and we do encourage you to connect with them. Military families often have to advocate for their military-connected children. Some schools may not yet know about Purple Star School designation. So you might want to ask if the school is willing to work toward that status. If you do know of a school who's willing to work toward that Purple Star School designation, MSEC is a great place to start. We are that national advocate for Purple Star Schools. So if you know of a school, please communicate or have them contact our military student consultant. MSEC offers training, professional development opportunities, and events to support schools who are working toward becoming a Purple Star school. And you can see the link for trainings in your chat box. And just a couple of other ideas to help schools. You can attend meetings in your school or local community, like the school liaison meeting or a school board meeting, perhaps a PTA meeting or PTO meeting, to bring Purple Star schools to their attention. You can also attend veteran services meetings to share the Purple Star School program to encourage that community engagement partnership. You can share with school staff about the MSEC trainings and events so that they can learn more about Purple Star schools. So just a few ideas for you. School transitions and military-related challenges do impact our military-connected students academically, socially, and emotionally. Purple Star schools have a positive impact on alleviating common challenges by helping students integrate more quickly into the new school environment. They work to mitigate the social and emotional challenges of being that new kid. And Purple Star schools help military-connected students stay on track to be college work and life ready. As the national advocate for the Purple Star School program, MSEC can assist with all of the recommended components that we have mentioned today. We hope that Sonia and I have given you a good overview of the Purple Star School program, and we would really like to thank all of you for joining today's webinar. We'd like to invite you to take our survey, and you can do that by clicking on the link right there in your chat box. You can also use the QR code that's there on your screen. Once you're in the survey, click on Webinar Survey and type in the 4-digit webinar, which is 6625, and then hit Submit at the very end of the survey. If you don't fill it out now, following the webinar, you will receive an email invitation to take the survey. We do use this tool to make ongoing improvements to our webinar series, add new topics of interest, and provide feedback to our funders. So we do appreciate your time with the survey. We also have a wonderful MSEC Wellbeing Toolkit, which was developed for parents, school professionals, behavioral and mental health professionals, and community leaders. This tool is full of resources for all aspects of the military-connected child's well-being. We'd love for you to explore it and share it with others. You can access it through that QR code or the link in your chat. If you have missed one of our previous webinars, or if you'd like to watch this again or share it, the recordings can be found on our website at militarychild.org, as well as on our YouTube channel, and you can see those links in your chat. We are excited to announce webinars that are presented specifically for our Spanish-speaking military community. Please join Mariella and Yasmina at the end of each month for these special webinar presentations that are funded by HEB. As with the rest of our webinars, these do begin at noon Eastern time. And the next En Espanol webinar on what is a Purple Star School is presented this Thursday, July 31st. And that registration link is in your chat box, If you are interested in obtaining a certificate of completion after today's live presentation, please complete the online survey and contact research@militarychild.org. We are also very excited to announce that registration is open for our MSEC Global Training Summits in Atlanta, Georgia on Monday, September 22nd, and in Austin, Texas on Friday, September 26th. We would love for you to join us, and the link to registration information is in the chat box or via that QR code on your screen. We'd also love for you to join us for our upcoming webinars. Tomorrow, Wednesday, July 30th, we'll be presenting Helping Military Kids Communicate and Minimize Conflict. And then next Tuesday, August 5th, we'll be presenting Challenging Behaviors, Discipline versus Punishment. The registration links to both of these are in your chat box, and these do begin at noon Eastern time. We would like to give a very special thanks to the Department of the Air Force School Liaison Program for making today's webinar possible. Thank you so much to all of you for your interest and participation. We hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you all.